Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Spiritual Grind. We hope you enjoy it, and don't forget to follow, hit the little bell for your notifications when the podcast is posted, and follow, and share with your friends. We hope you enjoy it. Leave a comment if there's any topics that you want us to speak about.
Like, follow, share.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jenny. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Spiritual Grind, a Merch Centers podcast. That sounded official, didn't it?
Morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Dr. Jenny. I was trying to do an official thing.
Oh.
You know.
We're so official.
I know. We're officiants.
Aficionados.
Aficionados.
Whatever that means.
Well, good morning, beautiful. I'm glad to see you joining me this morning on the grind.
Good morning.
And I'm glad you're in my presence, and I very much appreciate you being in my life.
I am a present.
You are a
wrapped
present.
Very beautifully.
I agree.
The most extravagant ribbon.
Yep. Enveloped into mine.
There you have it.
Welcome back to the grind, everybody. Guess what today's subject is?
Do tell.
The useless emotion.
Okay. Whatever you want to talk about.
I call it useless because it doesn't accomplish anything for me. Talk about the human side of worry.
We'll see where that takes us.
The human side of worry. You know how humans have a tendency to worry about things. They'll sit around and worry about everything. You know, a hot topic, and to me, worry accomplishes nothing other than distracting you from your journey. And that's where my mindset is today. What did you smack me for? Ladies and gentlemen, y'all heard that. She just smacked me.
What does that mean? That was a mouth noise.
You went.
Yeah, but what does that mean in reality when I do it?
I don't know.
It has some sort of meaning.
Yeah, I know. You do it a lot.
What does it mean to you?
I don't know. You always tilt your head when you do it.
You do know it has a meaning to you. It means something, or you wouldn't have commented on it.
To me, it probably has a meaning of dissatisfaction.
Wow.
Like, really?
No, it's me. No, I'll tell you what it is for me when I do that.
Oh, wait a minute. I know what it is.
It's licking my lips of the goodness that you're bringing in. This topic is going to be so fun to play with.
Oh, yeah. It's a good one. Because I've been kind of dealing with it this morning a little bit. Dealing with our situation and worry and, and the cat thing that we're about to go through and the videos I've watched this morning about our merch center and the next steps for it and what we do with it. And I was sitting in the shower. I was really working on some things and trying to get clarity. And I realized that my worry is clouding my ability to think clearly.
Of course.
Because what happens if I do this? What happens if I do that? Oh my God. And I finally was like, shut up, monkey.
Right. Shut the hell up. I can't think straight.
But I think we as humans we've been taught, worry, stress, all that stuff. We've been taught that it's a normal process. And for me, I want to remove that normal process. Okay. I don't want to worry. I don't want to have stress. Now, how do I accomplish that? Really not quite so sure. That's why I throw it over to you, Dr. Jenny. For the instructions. Hey, it's my job in this podcast to come up with the subjects. Her job's to teach about it.
Okay.
And I do the soundboard too. So ladies and gentlemen, we please welcome to the stage Dr. Jenny. Uh-oh. We have dissatisfaction.
Don't Don't say that. It's not dissatisfaction. It's me licking my lips, getting ready for this amazing meal that's been put before me that is going to be so fun to play in.
Oh, I think I just figured out how they got turned off that time. I just touched the corner of that. Oh, maybe I did it. I'm a bad sound guy.
So a while back, we did a podcast. And we're sitting here verbally jamming back and forth.
Actually, it was a great podcast.
To realize that at some point in it, the recording component got turned off. So we had no idea what we had recorded,
where we were
in it when it stopped recording, and we weren't quite sure why or how it stopped recording. So the epiphanal moment that just happened is he recreated that possible scenario of how that happened.
Yeah, I just touched because it's a touchscreen soundboard, and I just touched the power button on accident, and the record button. I mean, not the power button, the record button.
Let me ask you a question. Was there ever a time in you setting this up and being the production manager that you said, okay, I've got to make sure I'm aware that I don't hit that stop recording button?
I did.
Yeah. So you worrying about it actually kept you aligned.
What a great radius.
The concept. And therefore, you brought into your reality an experience of you actually doing the very thing that you worried about all that time. Because here's the thing. When you set yourself up for that statement, that worry statement that says, oh my gosh, okay, I don't want to do that, so I have to make sure I don't do that. When you create the sentence, even if you don't say it ever again, even if you don't ever really think about it on the forefront of your mind again, that energy is still hovering around out there. And until you give it a place to complete the circuit so the energy can dissipate, it will inadvertently, in the background noise, create parts of your reality that will bring that into existence. Rabbit hole. Grab your sandwiches. Carrots, ladies and gentlemen, carrots.
The part of it for me that brings it to my awareness is contrast, which is kind of a testament for contrast. Like when we just spent the last 2 weekends going in the motor coach to Daytona Beach for Jeep Week, which was really a good time.
It was.
And when we were there, I had zero worries about anything.
Yeah.
And then the minute we come back, I'm like, oh. And
what
I experienced the contrast of not having worries, which I enjoyed, by the way, to coming back and I start worrying. And so it's what really brought it to my awareness was the contrast. So it's a testament for our podcast on contrast, because without contrast, you don't know either side fully.
Right.
And so, but with the worry side of it is, for me, all it does is create monkey mind thoughts that are not beneficial in any way. Because it's almost a hesitation point that's humanly created, that where we hesitate on our journey due to worry.
That's exactly what it is, actually. So the construct of the belief system is that it always makes itself true.
Agreed.
Whether it's a pleasant belief or one that's creating parts of reality that are not exactly what you want.
Yes.
It will always make itself true. And if you're getting to a place where you're getting close to restructuring or releasing that belief, it will bring about whatever it can, whatever it needs to keep itself true, even if it is worrying about nonsensical things, to keep you in that vibrational frequency that aligns you with more of that stuff.
Right.
Equal to the belief that you have about it.
The monkey mind has the power to create, let me back up. In the sales world, we have a thing called anchoring bias. That's where we create a anchored point for somebody where they won't go backwards on you trying to sell them something. And the monkey mind worrying, the monkey mind creating a worry is almost creating that anchored bias that this is going to happen or that's going to happen in that belief.
Yeah.
And I know to remove an anchored bias is to allow freedom of the bias. And that's another part of the sales world that I've learned over the years of being in sales and selling things is that when you allow that freedom of the bias, the worry becomes different. And then, like in my example on sales, when there's anchored bias that's removed, the person you're trying to sell starts looking at you as a influencer to where you influence their decision. And that's what worry does.
In a good way?
Yes, in a good way.
I see.
And that's what worry creates. So that's what worry creates in the human, not only hesitation, but it gives you an anchored bias. And now, how do we remove ourselves of the bias? Because in the human world, it can create it can empower in the right directions for sales, but sometimes that's the wrong direction. And when the monkey mind's creating it, I do not want to make the monkey mind influential. That's where my thoughts were in the shower today when I was thinking about all this was like, because it creates a bias, like.
So can you pick a different word?
A bias?
Well, what's happening is I'm just getting this visual imagery of a bison. I don't know why that's happening. And so every time you say the word, I'm thinking of this big giant animal and I don't really know what to do with it.
So
and it distracts me from the conversation that you're trying to have.
So a different word for bias would be strong opinion. Like it creates and the anchored part of it is where it's in, like put in stone. It literally is what it is. It's an anchor. It holds you in that place.
Okay. So it's a grounded, deep-seated belief that is very, very strong and very, very rooted. In the concept.
It's more of, like in the sales world, when you do an anchored bias, it's more of the fact of it's an idea of what they could be or what they could have.
Say more.
So, like, for example,
What's the difference between that and a belief?
Because it's the kind of the journey before the belief. So, if you were to come to me and I was going to try to sell you a car, and you're talking about, I'm looking at this car or this car, and of course I don't sell the other car, and so I'm going to, through my words, anchor you into liking this car more than that car by removing your doubts and processes. And when you release that anchor, and by saying stuff like, oh, yeah, well, you can go try that car if you want, but you're going to find out this one's better.
So basically, all you're doing is you're trying to get that person to remove the beliefs they have about the car you don't sell and adopt the beliefs you have about the car that you sell. So it still is creating a belief and anchoring it into place so that the person embraces that belief and then creates a chain of actions that go in the direction of where you want them to go or where they want to go or where the two of you want to go together.
See that right there? Actually,
the rabbit hole part of that is that you're not doing anything to them.
Right.
Two of you have already
made an agreement.
Agreed to have this interaction for the benefit of
both of
growth and development for both of you.
Because here's what I have a tendency to think about worry. It's kind of, in my own mind, I just smacked you. In my own mind, I look at it as Tinkerbell. Like, Tinkerbell flies in, bing, and then flies off. Okay. And it creates worry. And
it creates worry?
Yeah, like the monkey mind part of it that creates worry is when Tinkerbell flies in and says, bing, you now have worry, and then flies off, and then now you got to try to catch Tinkerbell to get the monkey mind's power out of the worry. And when we get, you look like you're trying to take a poop. I used
It's
to.
really unfortunate that we don't have video yet because apparently some of the faces I make would quite possibly be pretty comical. Yeah, I'm not getting the Tinkerbell correlation, but I
It's like it comes out of nowhere, and then this is this magical thing that creates worry.
Okay, but it doesn't come out of nowhere. It's the belief component
I agree.
that's creating the worry in its effort to stay in place and to keep itself true, because it knows that you're close to figuring it all out, and it has its own. Okay, here we go, rabbit hole. Pack your little carrot sandwiches.
You already said that 3 times.
The belief system, I know, but I keep trying not to take us there, but I have to. The belief system itself has its own type of consciousness, that construct itself. And it's designed to make itself true.
Agreed.
In any way possible, so that we can experience a linear reality that happens one little frame at a time, if you will. So whenever you get close to getting it figured out and being ready to release or restructure that particular belief, it sees that as, oh my gosh, they're close to getting rid of me and I don't want to go away. I don't want my existence to end. And so I'm going to pull out all the stops. So I'm going to catch them by surprise. I'm going to throw some worry in there. I'm going to throw some other thoughts in there and see if I can trip them up.
Yeah.
That's kind of how that all works.
Yeah. And here's where my mind just went in your rabbit hole theory there. Was we know in the scientific world that the brain is just like electricity. It takes the path of least resistance and habit. And those are based off beliefs. Because the brain is going to be, when it experiences contrast, that's not the path of least resistance to go off this way and figure out why the contrast is there. It's going to try to just avoid the contrast, which is where the monkey mind creates the worry at. That little blip in the scope, so to speak, because it is a spot to where, oh my God, if I do this, I'm going to worry about it, but I'm going this way. And that's where the contrast of last week did for me was bring to my reality the thoughts of, yes, I agree. The belief system has a consciousness of itself, because otherwise the monkey mind would have no power.
Right.
But there's also that human side of it where the subconscious mind likes the path of least resistance, and it's going to do what it's done before rather than take the other path that gets through it, unless we humanly and spiritually create beliefs that will allow it to do it and not view it in a way of negative, bumpy road type thing.
Unknown, scariness, fear.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so when I like to go back to the anchored strong opinion, because I can't use bias anymore.
Oh
I'm just
my
playing.
God, you're so dramatic.
I'm just
Seriously.
playing. I'm just kidding. I don't like bisons running around. All I can picture is that slot machine.
Oh yeah.
Where they're running at you on the cruise ship.
Yeah.
But when we create that spot is created that's anchored, and you have an opinion, because there are some people that worries, they will create that belief that the worry is going to happen or whatever it is, and will like for example the people, and let me back up. They'll take that monkey mind worry and turn it into a phobia, a belief, many different things.
Well, of course, yeah. They can definitely turn it into one of those life loops that you get stuck in.
Yeah, and they do it out of lack of knowledge.
Repeating it. It's because of the fear.
I agree.
It's the fear of,
and it's the easiest path of least resistance. That's what the brain knows to do, is to own it, create a thing for it, and then subconsciously have the beliefs behind it, correct?
It's the perspective that it is the path of least resistance. The reality is that it is not the path of least resistance. It's actually the harder path because you're wandering around in the fear construct of, I don't know what's on the other side, and that's fearful. So I'm going to just stay where I'm at because at least I know what to expect. And so I'm just going to hang out here. Even if it's uncomfortable, the thought of doing something different is way more uncomfortable.
Agreed.
So I'm just going to keep doing what I do.
Yes.
Getting more of what I get.
And worrying more and creating more, letting the monkey mind have more power. And so that's where I am this morning. So how do we, as humans and spiritual beings that are commingled together, take that worry and remove its consciousness so it has no authority or power to where we can release and just be able to trust the journey that we're going to lead ourselves in the right direction anyway. How does that happen, Dr. Jenny?
Well, you definitely have to do a step-by-step program, and you got to break it all apart.
I got to go to AA again. I got to do the 12 steps again. Just kidding.
You're not an asshole.
What?
Asshole anonymous.
There we go. We're talking about my assholes again. Well, we got to bring the assholes back into it.
I can't help it. It tickled my bone.
But so how do we do that?
You got to just break it down, man. First step would be, being aware that you're worrying.
Okay.
Having a conscious awareness that you're doing it. Once you can get to that point, then you can start breaking it apart, peeling back the layers of why you're doing it. And it, again, is like everything else. It's topic based. You could have a worry process about many different topics. You got to take one at a time. What's the biggest one in your face right this minute? And once you decide that, I am worrying and I'm tired of that, I'm ready to do something different.
Yeah.
Whatever the topic is, you have to begin to explore why.
I was watching a short on YouTube the other day, and David Spade was being interviewed by Craig Ferguson.
I don't know who those people are.
Craig, Craig Ferguson's the Late Show guy, like the Tonight Show thing. And Craig asked David Spade, like, what's going on? What's going on in your life? And he said, well, I'm just stressed over this new movie. And Craig sits back in his chair and he says, well, what is stress? And David said, and I thought it was kind of a cool little moment because this was national public. He said, stress is the subconscious mind way of creating a reality that they don't have control over. And so I thought that spoke big margins of the spiritual awakening process that's going on in the collective consciousness, because 100% I agree with that. It creates stories based off your historical beliefs.
It creates stories based off of your perspective and some history.
Right.
It is definitely a facet of feeling like you have no control.
And I think your mind, I think being aware, is the first step of it, and understanding is also part of awareness. Understanding that this can be created from your beliefs.
It is always created from your beliefs.
Okay.
It always is.
Yeah.
That's the foundation of the whole of creation, is what are you believing? Because whatever your beliefs are going to give you your perspective.
Okay.
And that's why when 100 million people experience some event, you'll get 100 million different perspectives, because they each are coming into it with a template of beliefs that they're experiencing that from, and there's no one of them that's exactly the same.
Okay.
But it starts with, what is your belief template that you're running everything through?
Okay.
Your belief template is basically the underlying program that you're running your reality through. So if you're running it through, how do you say that in a way that could, what is the correlation I can use? Give me some information.
That was her downloading information. That was her clicking this of her 5.5 inch floppy disk.
This is how I'm going to do it. Okay. You remember the old time movie projector where you had to actually take the film reel and you had to put it on the little prongs, feed it through the little doodad, and then get it going by turning it on.
Yes.
And then it gave you almost a one-dimensional, very, very flat experience of watching that movie frame by frame by frame.
Mm-hmm.
Then you take what we experience nowadays, and it's like this 4D almost experience of watching the film on this screen that's got all the pixels, and it is so much more in depth and detailed and has all this depth and richness to the color, and you can compare the two, mm-hmm. right? And it's a much different experience.
Agreed.
So if you're the person that has beliefs in place that are the old machine, your viewing of the movie is going to be much different than the person that has the beliefs in place equivalent to the 4D experience movie.
Okay.
And any variation thereof.
Okay.
So your beliefs are 100% the foundation of your vibrational frequency at all times, which can be identified through your emotional guidance system. How are you feeling right now?
Yeah.
What do you feel like? Which then in turn
so is this step 2?
Giving you, hold on, it's just a general synopsis.
Okay.
Which then in turn is going to create your senses of perception, visual, audible. How are you perceiving your reality? You're perceiving it through your belief system structure always.
Okay.
So if you want to change something in your reality and you want it to look, smell, hear, taste, feel differently, and you want to change your frequency, you must always go back to the belief structure itself and dig around in that and find what belief or beliefs that you're currently running that are creating a perception of a situation, circumstance, or event, and let go of that or restructure that. If you believe that what's politically correct?
Download quick.
I was going to use gays and lesbians, but that's not politically appropriate. Let's run with it. You know what? I am who I am. If you have a belief that gays and lesbians should not have the same rights as everybody else because you have been taught that according to your Bible and your religious beliefs that you've adopted, that they are not, in fact, viable human beings entitled to their own experience, then you're going to formulate an opinion about an individual who chooses to live their life in that manner, and you're going to treat them differently.
Okay.
If you decide that, you know what, we're all made equal, and I am tired of worrying about a gay person walking into my establishment that I'm going to have that conversation with. You're not welcome here because you don't practice the way I believe you should. And it's an uncomfortable conversation that you have to have when they walk into your establishment of saying, you're not welcome here. And then some sort of unpleasant argument or conversation happens and you don't like that. And you're ready to not have that because the universe says, okay, well, you're worrying about those people coming into your establishment. Here's more of it.
Yeah.
Let's have a whole passel of them come in and sit down at your establishment.
And a whole tour bus comes in.
Right. Exactly. And now you have to have this conversation with this whole big group of people, and you're dreading that, and you don't want to have that conversation. And you come to a place where the contrast makes you decide, you know what? I'm just over having to deal with that. The universe giving me that more and more and more and more. So the inadvertent backhanded way of the belief always doing things to make itself true can in fact help you get to a place of actually dissolving the belief. That's a beautiful part of the construct.
Disclaimer.
Yeah.
We do not have opinion about anybody's sexuality. It does not bother us whatsoever, just to make sure.
Right.
She was just using that example because we used to have one of our restaurants in Arkansas. There was a cafe right around the corner that actually had a sign up on the front door that said no homosexuals, by the way.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm being channeled to use that as an example.
Yeah.
It's hitting for somebody. Anyway, if you're the shop owner and you're like, you know what? It doesn't matter. A customer is a customer. I'm tired of having this interaction. I'm ready to go ahead and restructure the belief and let it go. It's the belief that's where you have to start.
Like that cafe owner that has the belief he's going to catch homosexuality off a $1 bill from one of his customers. Right. So he has a sign up that says no homosexuals. That is ridiculous, by the way.
Can I have some antibiotic for that, please?
Yeah.
And so you've got to go back to always, you've got to go back to the belief structure. What is your belief structure? And what part of it are you ready to restructure or release? So being aware that you're tired of experiencing it that way, that allows you to embrace change and come to a place where your pain and pleasure marker becomes almost balanced, and it's no longer more painful to avoid the unknown and more pleasurable to go into the unknown, because the reality that you've created has become extremely uncomfortable with worry or whatever. Then you get to a place where you're like, okay, what do I have to lose? Let me just dig around in this crap because I'm tired of it. I'm exhausted. I'm beat down. I am tired of it. You got to go to the belief system and you got to ask yourself, okay, what is it that I choose to believe is true in order to continue to have this insert topic continue to show up in my reality? And then you have to wait for the information to come in. Either do some automatic writing and journal about it. Watch for signs of people coming in and making comments. Watch for that book to fall off the shelf. We've talked about these kinds of things in podcast. Listen for your higher self to talk to you directly through the uses of your ears or on, videos, whatever that information is, and however it can get in, your higher self will know. Maybe it's through this podcast. You just never know what the vehicle is for the information to come in. But being aware of it and being ready to reprogram that belief and turn loose of it is what's going to give you the freedom to change your perspective and not have to have that experience anymore.
So in what you just said, is that step 2? Because you did step 1.
Oh, you want it in steps?
Well, you did step 1 it was awareness, and then we jumped into this one.
So
and I heard 2 or 3 or 4 steps in there that could be.
Okay, so step 1 is being aware.
Uh-huh.
Step 2 is finding the belief that is got your anchored bias in place.
You use my words.
I thought I would, just to make you feel good. Finding that belief.
Okay.
Digging around in that. Step 3 is, once you find the belief, what do you want to do with it? Do you want to redefine it completely? Do you want to release it completely? What do you want to do with it? You get to choose.
Okay.
Is there part of it that still resonates and you just need to redefine it, pick a new definition? Like in the example I gave, it's not that he wants the he needs a new definition of what a human is and what an appropriate human is, which is just any of us, anything.
Right. Yeah.
What will happen is that once you get to that place of being ready and open.
You're talking about the cafe owner, just to be clarified.
Yeah. Okay. What will happen is once you find the belief and you're open and ready to restructure it or dissolve it, whatever, and turn it into just love energy, it will pop up anything that's entangled with it.
Yeah.
So you may have more than one belief or whatever come up. Sometimes it's a complete restructure of a paradigm, which is a paradigm to me is a complete program that you're running that is entangled with multiple different beliefs on a bunch of different topics, and they're all kind of entangled together. So you're running this paradigm or this entangled concept that's affecting many parts of your life. You'll get to a place where you're ready to get rid of this belief, but then what you'll find is in being ready to release this belief, these other beliefs that are inadvertently attached to it will pop up. And so it could be that it takes a little bit of time because all this other stuff is entangled in it.
Yeah, I agree.
And so finding the belief is step 2.
Okay.
Step 3 is digging around in that belief and finding what definitions need to be rewritten. Wee
willy winky. we widen the woods.
Wee witten. Willy wee witten.
Anyway, so they need to be rewritten.
Your definitions, it may be just that you need to rewrite some definitions. You need new definitions, updated definitions of where you are now. Mm-hmm. It's not that the old ones were bad. It's not that the old ones were not beneficial. They were exactly what you needed at the time that you were using them. It's just that now you've come to a place where you're ready to upgrade your programming.
Yeah, you've created new history that's making that belief not resonating more.
And you're not that person anymore. So you're ready to, update your programming, rewrite the belief. And by doing that, it will automatically restructure the belief, or it will automatically cause the belief to go away.
Okay.
So that's the top 3 steps. Once you get to that third step of exploring the belief, digging around in it, and other things start to come up, or just that single belief comes up. Once you decide if you're ready to fully let go of it or reword it or redefine it, whatever, the rest of it's automatic. It'll happen automatically.
Yeah.
And so when you do that, when you redefine it, reword it, that perspective, that experience will vanish.
Yeah.
Even to the point, for me, what happens is I can't even remember it.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Okay.
I have to channel in, and if somebody wants to talk about the topic, like sometimes you'll ask me, okay, how are you doing with that, or whatever happened, because you're curious. I have to channel in and go to like the Universal Library to pull that back in so I can have a conversation about it in a channeled state, because my human doesn't even have a memory of it, because by doing the work of changing the belief, I've in fact evolved into a whole different human being. And so that part of history for me is no longer my history. It's the other me.
Yeah.
It's their history. It's not mine, because I'm a whole nother person, because I've changed my vibrational frequency, which aligned me with a whole nother reality, parallel reality. And so that history is no longer mine. So I'm not going to hang on to it, and I'm not going to tote it with me. And so then I have no need for the continued memory of it.
Okay. So
that's why sometimes you'll say, don't you remember that? And I'll say, absolutely, I don't remember that.
And step 4?
Oh, you want a step 4?
Uh-huh.
There is no step 4, really.
So finally...
because when you get to that third step of identifying the belief and
you've come
to that place where you're ready to just change it.
And then, the fourth step would be just release it and change it.
Have no expectant assumption or insistence on how it must look.
Right.
And relax into it would be maybe step 4.
Okay.
Don't be insistent on how it's got to look, and that if it doesn't look exactly like that, you've done something wrong, or you don't like it, or whatever.
Yeah, keep your spiritual journey open.
Keep it free and kind of free flowing.
Not expecting it to go a certain way, just expecting it to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the insistence on, okay, now that I've redefined that, it must look like this immediately within the next 30 seconds.
Immediately, I say.
You'll get yourself jammed up again.
Yeah.
Because energy takes time sometimes, especially if you have a belief tangled up in there, that it takes a certain amount of time for this one to go.
And sometimes those beliefs are layered.
But it still is a belief that you believe that layered beliefs take longer than non-layered.
Oh, no, I agree. I mean, I'm just saying.
And so depending on what your belief overlay is on the time frame of releasing beliefs or definitions coming into play and anchoring into place, will determine how quickly you see change.
Agreed.
Because if you jump from one reality to the next and you do it too quickly for some people, it's scary and it is a little disorienting.
Yeah.
And people view that as an uncomfortable experience. Yeah. Like if you woke up and you were in a completely different bedroom, completely different decorated bed, and didn't recognize any component of where you were at, it would be like, damn, what did I drink last night? Dude, I got roofied.
Where did I?
Oh my God.
How did I get here?
Somebody roofied me, and I have been kidnapped, and I'm in the wrong house.
I have never gotten drunk and woke up in a strange place.
Oh my God, you're such a liar. Everybody has. I say everybody. That's probably an over-exaggeration.
There was one time
I definitely have.
I went to a party with buddies of mine, and I woke up 40 miles from where I started on a park bench in one of the rest areas on the side of the highway with only my boxers and one sock on.
I was going to say, what kind of clothes did you have on?
I had no idea where my truck was. I had no idea where my phone was.
You had on bra and panties.
And like 4 days later, my buddies were like, man, you were like out of control, so we just left you. I'm like, well, gee, thanks. And they were driving my truck.
Oh, beautiful.
But anyway, yeah, that was craziness back in the day.
And so what we will do when we're changing our perspective of our realities, we'll do it gradually. We'll do it slowly. That's why sometimes it takes longer or takes a little bit of time for your current reality to change, because the instantaneous change is still scary for most people.
Yeah. It's
disorienting to most people.
And they put filters in place to where it kind of slows it down. I'm guilty of that sometimes.
Or it can be a combination of both. But the underlying premise of it is still fear-based, that if it happens too quickly, it's scary.
Too much, too fast.
Right.
Yeah.
It's disorienting.
I agree.
And the example I gave, if you woke up and the room you woke up in looked so different than the one that you went to sleep in, most people...
Or you expected yourself to be.
Right. Most people wouldn't be able to embrace that and be like, oh my God, how fun. Let's explore. Where are we at? Most people would be like, oh my God, what did I take? What did I eat? Where am I at?
Where are my clothes?
Fear, worry, worry, worry. What's going to happen? Let me just close my eyes and hope that I go back to where I'm at. And so they don't allow the change of reality to happen that fast.
Yeah, I get it.
Because it's scary. The higher self knows that.
Well, I think that's a great little sum up of worry. I think you did a great job, Dr. Jenny.
I did.
You did.
Well, I channeled the information for you, so it wasn't really...
So Now, in the process of the worrying stuff, and you've given the steps on eliminating worry from your reality, because it does create hesitation in our journey. You agree with that, right?
Worry can definitely
create hesitation.
It can create hesitation in producing a reality that you would rather see than the one you're currently in. It will slow down that allowing
and so
of that thing that you really desire.
Yeah, I've adapted this.
But it can also motivate you into change.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. It is.
It has
the worry purposes. I have now adapted to where it brings into my reality beliefs that when I get to worrying about something, I have now learned that I need to stop and look at the beliefs behind it. And so worry to me is kind of a red flag popping up in my reality. And then I get to look at things a little differently. And
right. You can take that and utilize it as a positive construct,
right?
Which would be
as a map
defined as maybe a tool,
yeah,
or an indicator on the big map of things of, hey, I've got something going on. And how do I know that? Because I've gone into a place of worry about it. So let me research that. Let me dig around in that.
Right.
So you can morph it from being your way of life that constantly creates a reality that sucks.
Yeah.
Or you can take worry and you can change it over into your tool bag of things that indicate to you that, hey, I got a little something going on that's ready to come up. And so let me
that's where I went.
Take some time to dig around in that.
I put that worry feeling into my tool bag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Works out good.
For sure. So, and rather than it being a way of life, you can change it into a tool positively
for processing life.
That helps you process life and processes your belief systems.
Like it a lot.
Yeah.
Like it. You complete? Just look down here.
Is it time? Is it time already?
It's about the normal time.
Oh.
Oh no.
I'm just going to sit in here and talk on this microphone all day and just refuse to do anything else.
I'm not leaving here. I'm not leaving the podcast.
When you try to drag me out, I'm going to hang on to the door frame, kicking and screaming.
Well, so there you are, guys. There's your one way of handling Dr. Jenny's version of handling worry and how it comes in your reality, and with some throw-ins there on little side tips on handling beliefs. And remember that worry is labeled as a bad thing by society. And when you take on that worry, when you take on that belief, your worrying can cause you to have different results, and you can have physical body results and all those kind of things. And so don't take worry for granted, but also don't give it the power that society gives it, and look at it in a way of it's a tool.
Right. Because it can, if it's your way of life and you're not aware that you're doing it, worry can then become a stressful thing.
Yep.
And the physical body, your cells, which have consciousness, they will begin to change and react and release different chemicals in the physical body.
Agreed.
Like the cortisol and the adrenaline and all of that will bring about additional symptoms of anxiety and panic attacks and
all sorts of things.
Weight gain from cortisol and putting your hormones out of balance.
That's the problem. Why I'm a chunky monkey. Just kidding. I have cortisol.
I figure you probably just
I went out
and shit in your face.
I went out and caught cortisol somewhere. Dang.
Okay, I'm going to put my mask on because I don't want it.
Yeah, don't be catching my cortisol. Look out, I have cortisol.
Well, have you had a conversation with your cells on what you want to look like?
Wait a minute, are you agreeing that I'm a chunky monkey?
No. I'm just asking you if you've looked at it.
Well, of course. I don't feel like I'm overweight at all. That makes you feel like I'm in pretty good shape.
If you're a chunky monkey, then your cells are listening.
I'm just playing. I don't mean it. That was just a joke.
You might want to remind yourselves of when it's Mike night at the comedy show so that they don't listen.
Did you say Mike night or Mag night?
I said Mike.
Oh, Mike. Mike
night. You might want to tell yourselves, hey, it's Mike night. I'm just being a comedian. Don't listen to what I'm saying.
Do not produce cortisol.
Please laugh instead of producing.
Yes, please do. Anyway, hey, thank you all for listening. Don't forget to check out our website at www.themerckcenters.org. Check out our social media posts with Dr. Jenny's weekly drop-in advices and
I wouldn't say
different
weekly.
Things. Yes, it's been weekly.
Oh, wow. I'm so good. I don't even realize I'm doing it weekly. Pat me on the back. Ooh, la, la.
And that social media stuff is at the Merck Centers. That's MERCCENTERS. And we appreciate everybody listening. And don't forget to like, follow, and share. And send this to your buddies. And go say hi on our website. There's a place on there you can comment.
Right. And if there's a topic you want to explore, dig into, we are open, man. Send it our way. And we'll dig around in it. I'll channel in the information.
All right. We appreciate y'all. We love you and have an awesome day.
Love you.